Hi, my name is Tracy Lawrence, and I am the author of Dementia Sucks, A Caregiver's Journey with Lessons Learned. It's a book that I wrote about caregiving my mom, and it's kind of a memoir and a manual. And what my goal is in life is to raise awareness in people about the likelihood that they will become caregivers, and some of the misperceptions that we have about aging. And I like to provide some useful information about how to navigate and how to advocate, and also how to survive and thrive. So stay tuned, because next up I'm going to be talking to a group of women, the Bergen County Professional Women's Network. And this was recorded May 15th, 2018, at the launch of my book, Dementia Sucks, A Caregiver's Journey with Lessons Learned. And here it comes. Well, good morning. I want to thank everyone for coming this morning. And I am Tracy Lawrence. My business is called Grand Family Planning. And I arrived at it because I am a serial caregiver. It has nothing to do with Cheerios. It has to do with having had to care for people in my life, one right after the other. And caregiving is one of the most challenging and rewarding and exhausting and infuriating things that a person can agree to do. And I've learned that a lot of people who are caregivers don't identify as caregivers. And so in order to keep caregivers from hurting themselves, I wrote this book. It's called Dementia Sucks, and anyone who's had dementia in their lives knows that is the absolute truth. And when I agreed to do this talk several months ago, I knew the book was coming out in May, but what I didn't know was that the actual release date is today. Thank you so much. Also, disclosure, I'm Facebook Living this meeting at the same time. So because I want people to hear about what's going on and the topic that I'm going to cover this morning. And what I thought I'd do before I get started and assume that I know what you guys want to hear about, I wanted to ask, does anybody here have aging parents? Okay. Now, when you heard about the topic of this meeting, was that kind of why you came?
I didn't really know about this group. So.
Okay. So, how did you hear about it? I'm just curious.
One of my friends who had gone through this with her mother had just sent it to me because she knows I'm at the onset of it.
Okay. Okay, great. Are there any issues in particular that are bugging you, that where I could, if there's a nugget that I could give you that you know about but don't know about, something that's like that's nagging you that you would want to know about? Okay, so Donna was talking about how her mother is in denial and is making her life difficult, and this is a very common topic. All right, when we get to this point in our lives, because it's very natural for parents to push back when an adult child tries to take over. Why? Because the parent has been in control and independent all their lives, and all of a sudden, you, their child, their baby, right? It doesn't matter how old or accomplished you are. You're still your mom's baby, and the last person she wants to confide in about how terrified she is about the things that are happening to her right now is you. And because you are competent, because you are able, because you are in a position where you are able to help her, she resents you. And that is totally normal, natural, and anyone who's tried to do what you're doing right now has faced it. Okay? So I'm going to try and give you some ideas for being able to take that on, to try and flip it around. Because what we don't realize, okay, when this starts to happen, is that, you know, we're noticing things, and we are trying to, out of the goodness of our hearts, all right, help our parent. That's how we view it. We're trying to help, okay? But the way our parent perceives it is, you're bullying me, you're pressuring me, you're making me feel like an idiot. You want to take my stuff. You want control. It's not bad enough I'm losing control, but you want to take it? You're going to put me in a home. All these terrible things are going to happen to me because you, my child, are trying to help me. All right? And because you're there, it's convenient to want to blame you. Right? So I'm going to talk a lot about these kinds of things today. So, any other? Yes, Diana, God bless you. God bless you. You're doing something that is really lovely, noble, and extremely challenging. And if you want to, after this, you know, please reach out to me. I can be a resource to you. I have a lot of really great resources for people in your situation. So please, when someone who is vulnerable and older goes to the hospital, it's very common for them to become disoriented. And they will, if they were about to develop dementia, very often it progresses. Sometimes getting them back home and around familiar things and getting their physiology stabilized will help them to regain some of their cognitive capabilities. But
not very much came back.
Yeah, it's unusual, but it can happen. But don't wait for it. But yeah, but you're going to need some help.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah, because as soon as I hear that O word, the overwhelm word, and that is very common, then that's when we need to have a conversation, because I have people who can help with your situation. Anyone else? Yes.
Slightly different thing I'm looking for. Because I've seen this happen to both my in-laws. Mm-hmm. How do I retain control of my own life so that I can choose my destiny?
Ah, great. That's great. And so with that, I'm going to go into my my spiel, because I cover a lot of that in here, because I am the caregiver's caregiver. I want to make sure that anybody who chooses to do the noble job of caregiving does not lose track of their own self. Because here, I'm going to give you a really frightening statistic. 50% of family caregivers of people with dementia die before the people they're taking care of. Okay? If you're a spouse, it's in the high 60s. Okay? So one of the reasons that I do what I do is that I've known people who've died from what I call reckless caregiving. All right? So I want people to understand what dementia is, what they're up against, how to plan for it, how to navigate it, and how to survive it. It's extremely important. So, you know, I'm going to share with you where I came from, because I think it's important for you to understand how I got into this, and you know where I came from in the beginning of my journey. So I believed in the myth of retirement. I had two parents who, they were not wealthy when I was growing up, but my father did well when he was in his 50s. He had double bypass surgery, had an epiphany that life could be different, and he decided to semi-retire and take good care of my mom. And then they went into full retirement in Florida. They had 15 awesome years. They were living la vida loca. They were spending all kinds of money. They were having a ball. And I was happy for them. So, and I believed in the myth of retirement, that you stop working, you spend money like you're Warren Buffett, Well, actually, Warren Buffett doesn't spend a lot of money. That's a misnomer. But spend money like you're drunk, okay? Travel the world, spoil your kids and your grandkids, and do all the stuff you always dreamed of, and eventually, gently, die in your bed, at home, with cherubs encircling you and leading you to heaven's gate. All right? That's cue heavenly choir. Oh! All right. But that's not the way it happens. Okay. Okay. So if that's not the way it really happens, how does it really happen? Well, if you'd like the answer to this and many more questions, tune in for the next episode of Dementia Sucks. Thanks for joining me. I'm Tracy Lawrence. Dementia Sucks, A Caregiver's Journey with Lessons Learned, is now available for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and fine bookstores everywhere. Once you've had a chance to read Dementia Sucks, don't forget to post your review on Amazon.com. Really appreciate it. Thanks.